Today we're going down one insane rabbit hole because the story that we're talking about today is about one of the largest true crime influencers who turned out to be a massive fraud and potential scammer. This person is Ken Wax, but also known as simply just @Ken on TikTok, and he has gone viral over the last couple of months for all the wrong reasons. But it wasn't always like that because it seems like he started off with various finance content and telling stories of brands.
Welcome back to Econ 101. I am your professor, Ken. We're going to talk about bubbles.
These videos would get anywhere from like 2,000 to 100,000 views, which is good views, but not viral quite yet. But then one thing changed. He made a PSA for Chicago residents.
You are walking home alone by yourself at night in Chicago, and a car rolls up and rolls down the window, and someone inside the car, unmarked car, beater of a car, asks if you need a ride. Do not get in that car. This has now happened to me twice in the last 6 weeks that I can think of. The first time was about 3:30 in the morning, and I was walking home from a bar. I don't drink, but I was walking home, and a car with a woman rolls down the window and was like, "Hey, do you need a ride home?" And I'm, "No, I'm good." "Oh, you sure?" Like, it was a beater of a car. Beater. People are getting kidnapped. People are going missing. And it just happened to me again. Just happened to me again at 9:45 at night in River North. I'm walking down, I don't know, like Superior or Ohio Street, and it's well lit. You know, I'm on the phone, and a car comes across 3 lanes of traffic, pulls up, rolls down the window, and asks me if I need a ride. Do not get in cars with people that you do not know. Do not get in unmarked cars. Do not take free rides from strangers. Like, people are going missing. Like, I think this is some kind of connection because, like, they're probably just waiting for people who are drunk, and it's an easy target. Like, holy, stay safe. Like, do not do it.
And I'm still conflicted if this was a genuine video of something that actually happened or the start of a well-executed plan to go viral. Because what happened next was he pivoted his entire social media career to become a full-on true crime investigator. And it all ties back to that video that we just saw where he believes there's an organized crime group that picks up drunk men after they've exited a club or a bar late at night.
Related in a way. All the men go missing after leaving bars, usually in the River North.
I know how they're going missing. I know how they're all connected and why they are all in the same age range and demographic. I know why the cops and the media are not doing anything or covering it, and I know what we can do about it. So buckle up. They all go missing after leaving a bar, club, or a party drunk by themselves at night, and they're walking home. Twice in the last 2 months, I've had cars roll up on me and offer me a ride. I have not accepted those rides. Both times those drivers were alone. 2 different drivers, by the way, and both times immediately after I declined it, they sped off. One time, there was an additional truck that followed the car that sped off. How are they connected and why are they all guys? They're drunk dudes. A girl knows better than to ever get in a car with a stranger. These guys think potentially that they could take the person that's offering them the ride because the drivers themselves do not actually seem threatening. But that leads me to something else, which is I know how they're potentially the people that get into the car.
Whoa, now, okay. This escalated quickly. It suddenly went from it almost happening to him knowing everything about this.
One of the Tox reports came back with one of the people showing which is given to, I think, pregnant women, though when mixed with alcohol produces effect identical to being. So what do you think if someone was already drunk enough to get into a car with a stranger? Because definitely could happen. Definitely a guy would be willing to potentially do that, thinking that they were safe or whatever. They accept a bottle of water potentially from that driver that's laced or has been inserted with, and they have the effect. And if that's not the case, there's that truck that's following them. So the car that picked you up pulls over, the truck is full of people to do a swap and take you. The reason the cops aren't doing anything is because it's not illegal for somebody to offer you a ride. Something has to happen before the cops can actually go do something. And because there's not foul play suspected, I talked to my friend who's a cop for an hour today. And the reason that foul play isn't suspected is because, I hate to say it, but there has been a long history of people who get drunk and fall in the river. They have video of people, I'm not sure any of these people, following down to the river and falling in. And because they're drunk, they're in such a shock state that sadly they pass away. Is it related? I don't know. We're talking now about probability versus possibility.
Okay, so now he's like connecting a lot of things, but he also says he doesn't really know. But he opened the video saying he knew exactly what was going on. But bear with me, guys. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it probable? My friend who's a cop says it's less probable. The reason the media hasn't been talking about this yet, they will be this week, is because until the other day, when that car rolled up on me a second time, and it was the same car, by the way, same car, I'll put it in the comment, they did not know how these things were connected, and so they cannot run with it as a story. That is now going to change. What we can do about it is raise and make noise. All the people in my last video who said that this has happened to them in the past couple of weeks, please come with me to the CAPS meeting that's happening at the Larrabee station on Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. I will be there. Please contact me, email me, whatever. We will have a group. And please stay safe. Stay alert. Do not get in a stranger's car under any circumstance. Please make sure that you are going home in a car that you know the correct license plate number for, please. Or please be traveling in a group if you are walking anywhere at night by yourself. The last time they rolled up on me was 9:45 p.m. They are getting brazen with this.
Yeah, he is all over the place. He's doing a call to action to get people to go to the police station with him. Then he's giving out genuinely good advice saying, hey, don't get into a car that you don't recognize, and to always check license plates when getting into an Uber, but then tying it together by saying they're going to get brazen about this, which essentially is just him doubling down saying there's an organized group behind all of this. But he continues by saying that he filed a police report.
I forgot to mention that I have officially filed a police report for a non-violent incident, and the news will be picking this story up, I believe, on Monday. I have been in contact with Fox. I've been in contact with CNBC. If there's any journalists or any reporters, I have everything written up already for you. Please contact me. We need to spread awareness about this as much as possible. It is St. Patrick's Day right now. Everyone is out there drunk. This is probably an amazing opportunity. So today, especially, stay safe. Car, by the way, that rolled up on me was a late 2000s Toyota Corolla looking car, beige, silver-ish. The first time it was a woman, the second time it was a man. It had a very distinct pattern on the left gas tank bumper area. It was a bunch of big black circles, call them rust circles, look like giant cigarette burns. They were slightly shiny. If a car does approach you, try to get the license plate number. Like, they will be pulling the street camera footage from the car that I saw and trying to track that one down and connect to anything else. But this is organized. This is a group. We need to stay vigilant, and we need to get as much information as we can. Like, you can send it all to me if you got anything, but we are making a serious break in this case right now.
So now at the end of the video, he switches his stance again from going, oh, I don't know, to this is a definitive group and we're going to catch them. But then he takes it further and saying, this is not just a Chicago problem. This is a nationwide issue and it's all the same group.
It isn't just happening in Boston, in Chicago, where people are going missing and then found in the river or lakes days later. This is happening nationwide, where people are vanishing under the same set of circumstances. At least 3 different men in Houston have gone missing in the last few months and found in the waterways days later. They had nothing in common except they were first reported missing after leaving a bar by themselves. Last seen leaving a bar by himself, walking. Do you think it's possible that a car rolled up to those people and offered them a ride with ill intent in mind? Just last month in Austin, Texas, Jason John left a bar on Rainy Street by himself, started walking, and for some reason there's 8 minutes of undocumented evidence, and then days later he was found in the lake. 1 month ago, 2 men were found in Lake Erie days after being reported missing. Craziest part about that one is that their car was nearby running with both of their phones in it. I will be calling this number.
So here he's trying to link it to this group of his by assuming they were all offered a ride. Yet the last people he covered here, they had a car with their keys in the ignition. So why would they accept a ride or even be offered a ride if they had a ride of their own? Oh, pollen season started. My left eye is beyond itchy. Oh, now it's really bad. Okay. So far, to me at least, it seems like he's trying to tie tragedies together and say, oh, look at this. This is all an organized crime group and I'm on to them. I mean, I feel like this Gen Z Sherlock Holmes should chill a bit because unlike Sherlock Holmes, these are actually real people with real families. And this could actually cause damage to the case by speculating like this. Like, do you actually think the real detectives are not gathering information as we speak on all this?
There are so many cases in Boston. I know that it has been happening there for 20 years. I don't know if all of these cases are connected. These cases happening all over the country, but I do know that is the same method of operating for all of these cases. That's the only thing that makes sense. These people are leaving bars, for the most part, drunk at night, alone, walking somewhere, and they are then offered a ride. There's obviously no evidence of them being offered that ride, and then days later, they're found after they were reported missing.
But again, okay, so he didn't know if they were actually offered a ride. He's just assuming so. Kidnappings sadly happen all the time. Often they happen at night with a vehicle. Just because all these other cases happened at night with a vehicle doesn't mean there's one organized group behind all of this. I'm just going off the information he's giving us, but to me it seems like he's being very hyperbolic for a good story for TikTok.
The police don't want to investigate this because how do you prove it? And even when I went to the cops with my story of being offered rides twice in Chicago by people who should not be giving me rides, they laughed at me because apparently it's not illegal for them to offer free rides. They started calling them gypsy cabs, and gypsy cabs have become a major issue in at least Chicago. And I have 20 to 30 people who have told me that this has been happening to them and they've been approached by random people offering them rides. So if you are offered a ride at night, do not accept this ride under any circumstance, please. To my fellow Chicagoans who this has happened to, please come with me to 1201 North Clark Street
this Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. where we can meet directly with the police and voice our concerns and raise awareness about this issue. We cannot prove that these cases are connected. We cannot prove that there's a serial killer out there, even though all of these organized crime syndicates are operating under the same method of operating. But what we can do is we can raise awareness about these gypsy cabs and these free rides and make sure that none of your friends leave a bar at night alone and start walking in any direction under any circumstance. We can raise awareness about this. We can get the word out and we can actually start busting these cabs. Stay safe, stay alert, and let's bring these to justice.
Again, I mean, he is being extremely broad, but mixing in good advice of don't accept rides from strangers, and then adding another call to action to go to the police department. But I'm struggling to understand what that would solve, though. Like, to me, it feels like he's creating his own hero's journey. Oh, this thing happened to me. Now it's up to me to stop this from happening ever again, even though I can't even prove if this criminal organization exists or not. But his call to action was legit. He did end up going to the police station, but it did not go how he was expecting it to go. Or at least he makes it seem like that in his story.
I am on my way to the meeting with the police. Ironically, I'm walking right past where one of those drivers tried to pick me up. One of the people who told me that they were going has already gotten there and has been turned away from the police. Apparently it's for residents only of the building. They put it in a residential building, not in a public forum like a library, something like that. They also canceled the original meeting, moved it twice. They're trying to stop this meeting from happening, and I don't know why. So I'm going. I think I have 3 or 4 people that are going to go with me. A lot of people texting me about it already, and I have testimony from 20 other people about their experiences. So let's see what happens. Update: the cops knew who I was, knew I was coming, and wouldn't let me in the building initially because they said I didn't live in the beat. I actually do live in that beat area. She's like, we're not talking about serial. I'm like, I'm not talking about serial. I'm talking about a serious public safety concern. They kicked out the other people who tried to come. They did let me go up at some point. The cop did agree that this is a problem, but now I have to email her to try to figure out a better forum. So
Okay, so according to him, the police aren't taking him very seriously for whatever reason. They tell him to email all the details, which sounds reasonable, but things take another turn. Because someone passed away that day that he was at the police station, and he's claiming this exact criminal organization is behind that.
Been tagged in that video a bunch of times, and first I want to say rest in peace to Joel and may his family find some peace, but this one really pisses me off because he went missing on Thursday night, and you know what I was doing Thursday afternoon? I was at the police. I was at the community policing meeting trying to raise awareness about this exact problem.
Bro, as soon as I hear the TikTok horror music sound effects, I take him way less serious. I'm getting the vibe that he's grifting off of people's tragedies for attention on TikTok.
About these people that are going missing because they're being offered rides when they're walking home at night drunk and alone by themselves. The police don't see this as a problem. They try to throw me out of the meeting. They wouldn't let me in. And then when they finally let me in because I had to prove that I was a resident of the area that I was at the community policing meeting for, they wouldn't let me speak because they said this is not the forum. Is the forum. Let me know. No one's going to tell us. The news isn't covering it because they don't see this as enough of a story. Hold on, I'll show you. We agree we should keep an eye on it, but there isn't enough yet for a story on our show. If my producers are interested in pursuing this story, are you available for an interview tomorrow or Wednesday? This was last week. Follow up on that. They don't want to interview you. They're aware of that meeting. I had 4 different people who tried to attend that meeting that the police turned away and would not let us speak, would not let our voices be heard in our own community. The police will not do anything because it is not a crime to offer someone a free ride, even if the potential is to kidnap or the news will not do anything because they don't think it's a good enough story, even though we now have 13 different people who got missing under the same set of circumstances. So you know what? We'll do it ourselves. I'm not exactly sure what that looks like yet, but I am going to get a public service announcement out. I am going to raise so much hell about this issue because people are dying. People are going missing. People are getting robbed. And we know exactly what's happening. And just because they're not doing anything about it, sure as doesn't mean I'm not going to do something about it. Stay safe. Keep your friends safe.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, we're just sitting here watching this guy create a hero's journey for himself without showing us any evidence yet. But every single video we've watched out, it's getting millions of views per video. This last one had over 8 million views. So he's farming a lot of attention here, but where is he going to direct it? I'll show you guys soon because it's quite the plot twist. But he continues the saga by mapping out all the missing people and all the found bodies in various cities.
There's a serial doofus in Austin.
Same thing's happening in Chicago, in Minneapolis, in Wisconsin, in parts of Ohio, in Pittsburgh, and of course you have the smiley face in Boston. I made a map with the data that I have for Chicago. Black is where bodies have been found, and blue is where people have been missing, and orange is where people were attempting to be picked up. I also have made one for Austin, where blue is where people are missing from. It's all concentrated truly on the same street, and black is where they are found. You can see I have all of it keyed out over here. There is so much. This is a nationwide problem, and these maps that I've made are accessible through my beacons, but the method of operating for all of these missing people is exactly the same for the most part. It is guys leaving bars drunk, alone, by themselves, at night, bar, club, party, whatever. And then they never make it home.
So he is going lengths to map all of this out. And again, I'm struggling to figure out if he's being genuine here or if he just wants to keep the views coming in on TikTok from all this. Because this could all be an elaborate grift for attention, because he's getting plenty of attention right now. And the reason why I'm kind of leaning towards the latter is he still hasn't shown us any proof nor anything from these witnesses. His story is just kind of like loosely strapped together with a bunch of assumptions. But then he has his most viral video yet, stitching a person from Chicago.
There's a serial killer in Chicago, and I was almost one of their victims.
Hey Mark, my name's Ken, and I'm sorry we're meeting like this, but I've probably been tagged in your video over 100 times. I'm not sure if you've seen these comments yet. I actually already messaged you on Instagram, but I have been investigating this and covering this since I was almost taken twice.
Bro, I'm sorry we're meeting like this. That is taken out of any American cop movie. I mean, he is being so hyperbolic here.
Just this year. So there's a couple things that I think you can help me with. I've been building a map, and this is you now on my map. So what you're looking at is black is where people were found in rivers or lakes. Purple is where women were missing who ended up being found in one of those locations. Orange, which you are, is an attempted pickup. And I want to show you something. I want to know, do you remember what side of the park you left? You said that you and your friends were on opposite sides of the park. I'm guessing you were on this side because these are all of the Chicago police cameras. Really quick sidebar. I've actually gotten my hands on a map of where all of the police cameras are located in the city of Chicago. There is one in River North. And now let's check River North for my attempted pickups. Interesting. These people know where the blind spots are. I hope you don't mind. I took notes, but you said it was a black SUV and it was a white guy, but not white, like you would say ethnic white, because I've gotten that a couple of different times. And he had black hair and he had a beard. I would love to know what the approximate age range was of that individual, and if you happen to remember the make or model of the car. And I would love to know, if I showed you a picture of somebody, do you think you would recognize them? Because if your driver is the same person as the man in my photo, which I'll have to show you offline, privacy, safety, we might have something huge.
Again, he just doesn't show too much. He's just fully LARPing as some detective. But I mean, we're getting to some sort of climax now. Like, he might have something massive. So his next video, it must be insane. He must be cracking the code. He's about to bust this whole criminal organization because he's clearly spending all of his time on this. So here's his next video following that previous video we just watched that got about 10 million views. Let me know if this makes sense.
Hey Jasmine, hope you've been well. I would love to show you what I've been working on. For the last 8 months or so, I've been building this app called Foresight. Foresight is a combination of a social calendar so you actually know what your schedule is. It is a travel planner that helps you build itineraries for the trips of your dreams. And soon it will also be a discovery platform helping you find amazing experiences in any part of the world. Also, shameless plug, you can actually invest directly into the company itself. And this is all filed with the SEC. We've raised $166,000 and we have a goal of about $200,000 before this round ends. Our next round of funding, our seed round, is guaranteed come early June if we deliver against a couple of milestones that they set for us. So that $200,000, if we hit it, gives us more than enough runway to get past that goal. So it's really cool. Let me know if you have any questions about Foresight. I am happy to answer as a co-founder and chief marketing officer of the company. Thank you.
Wait a second. Hold up. Pause. So he created a true crime series on TikTok, and he's now trying to raise money from those viewers for a travel app. Huh. Then he says they're tripling their valuation in the next couple of weeks, which also sounds odd. So with startups that are non-crypto related, normally they start off with a friends and family run, then they do like a Series A, a Series B, a Series C, and so on. These would be with accredited investors and firms. But when they want to go public to the average everyday investor, they either SPAC to get onto the stock market or they IPO. This is for traditional startups, not for blockchain startups, as blockchain startups normally do pre-ICOs and ICOs, which is directly to the public and is likely the most speculative way to invest. But either way, this is not a blockchain startup, and going to your audience to ask for investment this early sounds incredibly sketchy to me. To me, that sounds like they're struggling to find funding because why are they not raising from accredited investors? Well, then suddenly, like nothing ever happened, he just switched back to his next video being back on the topic of this true crime investigation. And things take an extremely weird turn where he says a private investor investigator showed up to his house.
PI, private investigator, just left. I'm okay. Thank you, everyone, for your concern. Thank you for looking out for me and for the wellness checks. And thank you for my parents for calling the police to make sure that I was okay. We spoke for 2.5 hours. He is part of a team that has been looking into the smiley face gang for years. There's actually another detective who I will, not mention the name of, who has been trying to get in touch with me for a couple of days now, to speak with me about the stuff that I know, which is very useful to them. So there's a lot that I know that I have never been able to post on here, and I won't be able to post on here because I am apparently now part of the team. And it's interesting to have confirmation that this is kind of what I thought it was, especially in Chicago and Austin and Pittsburgh and Wisconsin and a lot of other places that we're going to continue to work our way through together.
The dude showed some weird prop card like that proves anything. Like, I don't know about you guys, but my BS meter is through the roof right now. I feel like this is either a grift or some ARG. While we've covered some ARGs here on this channel before, this doesn't really give me the same vibe as those other ARGs, because this just seems way more reckless. Because he's trying to raise funds for some alternative project, and there's some potential scamming that we're about to get into. But to confirm that things are not making sense, a former investigator and interrogator in the US military called him out on this.
Okay, so just like a little, I just want to show you a little bit. Like this is me. This is from my big thing of military documents, right? Military police, specializing in investigations and interrogations. Number 1, you do not ever give unnecessary information about the operations of your investigation. 0% chance. If you are using this to reach out to people, you're only going to make videos and you're going to only give the cues that you need, and you're only going to be seeking out secret information. The fact that you're going out and spouting and saying that you're part of this investigations is sick and disgusting, Ken. These families are not at peace, and what you are doing to promote an app is disgusting, and it will come back, and this will fail. Your app is going to fail. This is disgusting.
So now things are starting to get interesting because people are starting to catch on to Ken's BS here. But Ken makes another video claiming that he was recruited by the FBI.
I hope you're ready for this then, because last night at 3 a.m, I cracked the case. I was able to crack it last night because of you, because of everyone who reached out with information for me. After Mark gave us a profile, he gave us a description of that driver, people then started contacting me via email, via Instagram message, whatever, with their experiences. Over time, I was able to isolate one guy's experience leaving a bar where he was able to get a license plate of a car in a driver that matched that description. Last night at 2 or 3 a.m, I got another email from somebody else describing the same exact freaking car, down to the beginning of the license plate and the same exact descriptor of the driver. That private investigator that showed up at my door Sunday night, by the way, was sent by this man, Detective Kevin Gannon. And if you're familiar with the smiley face gang theory, then you probably know exactly who he is. If you don't know who that is, Detective Gannon worked for the NYPD for 20 years, and when he retired, he was the most decorated officer in NYPD history. For the last 15 years or so, him and his team have been trying to track down these people and get justice for those families. Last night, he asked me to join their team, and I have accepted. So now me and the 4 people that I have working for me on this have joined forces with them, and we all have different roles to play. But because of this, we now have access to resources that we did not have before. We can further these investigations at speed that they had not ever seen. I called him this morning and gave him that license plate number. He's having it run right now. And while that might help us crack into that one particular person in Chicago, this is a much bigger issue than that. There's still more people just in Chicago. We're not even talking about Pittsburgh. We're not talking about Wisconsin, but we will be. I have a guy now who's building a better mapping system so that my team that's collecting the information that's given to us, information that we source from everyone's stories, and we can upload it at faster speeds. That should actually be done by the end of this week. We now have additional resources that we never had access to before. We're going to be able to get autopsies. We're going to be able to get medical reports. We're going to be able to move at speeds that this investigation that they have officially reopened into the smiley face gang has never seen before. And we are going to get some
freaking justice, and we are going to get these guys. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be able to share all of this with you. It has been such a crazy few days, and there's still so much to do. There's still so much work. I'm up every night till 3 or something in the morning. I read the emails, every single one. So thank you guys for sending me the information that you do. Please keep doing it. Every detail is so important. Every detail closes this circle on the people a little bit more. We are getting close. We are right there, and we're going to get this done soon.
Then the same former investigator calls him out on that as well.
Hi, former military police investigator and interrogator for the U.S. Army, mainly working in Afghanistan operations and helping to create the Afghan National Army, which I don't know how much of a credential that is. However, I just want to issue a strong warning around these videos. I kind of got caught up and I was watching it, but it was the FBI bounce back emails. Those are just when you submit an application for those. The FBI isn't trying to recruit him. I tried to find any information about these two that he's supposedly caught. He's not. I think this is a really important thing to talk about. Gaining clout off of people's misfortunes, especially people who are and their families are not at peace, is one of the most horrible things. And this is all to promote an app. And there's plenty of...
I agree that what he's doing here is horrible, but I'm not fully convinced that his only objective with this account is to promote this app yet. But this same investigator by the name of Justin followed up with this video.
So this was in response to when he had an investigator show up to recruit him at his door, knocking on his door. First off, number one, as a private investigator going out of things, or any investigator, I'm not coming and knocking on your door, calling you. I'm writing you. I'm sending you a message. I am not going to reveal my image. I'm not going to put my location at risk. I'm not going to come to a person who's viral on TikTok posting public videos saying what they're doing. That's literally no. And you watch all this video and the things here, he has like a little business card. I don't know what that business card is, but great prop. Let's give Ken credit. He is amazing at marketing. He is really good at creating content. He's good at creating these stories. I am a little hesitant because I'm starting, through some of these comments and things that I do believe he may be experiencing a manic episode. I think maybe he might believe that this is real, but nonetheless, I just want to come here and say without a shadow of a doubt from an actual former investigator, Ken is BS.
Then to add to this, Justin, who we just saw, he went absolutely viral from this, and this got the attention of one of Ken's victims. Because this victim had a child that was involved in something that Ken was covering, and they allegedly paid Ken $30 to find out more about this case. But when it was finally time for the meeting, it seems like Ken no-showed.
So here's a receipt that a viewer sent to me, and this is kind of sad. So we'll just call them Jay. They wanted to short chat with Ken. This person had a son go missing and disappear in Chicago and is desperate for answers. Reached out to Ken, hopeful. Yesterday, at 1 p.m., our friend Ken was supposed to be meeting with Jay in regards to their missing son. They didn't show up. They didn't answer them. And guess what? Ken's favorite thing to do, block. And I don't know about y'all, but this really gets me.
So if that's true, that really makes him the TikTok true crime scammer. But I don't know why he would do this, because $30 is not a lot of upside when it comes to scamming a grieving family. So for Ken to do all of this just to take $30 from some extremely vulnerable people, while that sounds terrible, it doesn't sound logical to me. But Ken doing all of this to promote an app definitely makes a little bit more sense when someone found a video of them bragging about how much Ken's account made their app boom.
Speaking of LinkedIn, just so we're clear, Ken is not alone in using this reprehensible tactic for marketing the app. Check out this boy boss, Stephen Eddy. He's actually the CEO of Foresight, and I want to show you his LinkedIn post the other day. So here is a LinkedIn post from Steven where he brags about the fact that the app has gone viral because of Ken's marketing techniques. So clearly, Ken is not like manufacturing this all on his own. He has a whole team of people who are like, yes, go for it. And so basically it goes on to say the same thing that we saw on that startup website, but it explains how, Ken took an unrelated video and then he promoted Foresight at the end. And then it goes on to say that Ken plans to start mixing a Foresight reference into the end of every other post. Considering how viral Ken knew he was going, this is so strategic. And if you watch the video the first time that he mentions Foresight, you will see it is a video talking about a tragic death of someone in Chicago. So Ken and Steven, by the way, who I feel like is not innocent in all of this, have created a marketing strategy where they are profiting off going viral by talking about people's absolute tragedies that they don't really have anything to do with other than the fact that they want people to download their, in my opinion, not very exciting app. This is an app too that in my opinion, this app will never take off. This will be something that 6 months from now, you're planning something with a group of friends and they're like, oh, we could use this app. There's this app that we use in my work and it helps make things trip planning easier and stuff. And people will be like, oh yeah, maybe, or maybe we could just text about it, have a group text. That's what people do. Nobody wants this app, in my opinion.
Well, that is a beyond messed up way to promote your app. But with all this backlash, Ken actually apologized for this.
I'd like to take a moment to address something that has come to a head over the last week. As many of you know, this investigation has been my all-consuming passion over about the last month, and what started as my honest effort to bring more awareness to a serious public safety matter. My reporting on this topic has since turned into a contentious subject, and I now realize that it's not my place at all to continue chasing this story despite my own personal connection to it with those 2 attempts on me. I bit off a lot. It won't happen again. And the information about the suspects that my team and I have been able to find has been passed to the proper authorities. I've decided to no longer post about this story publicly to prevent further conflict. I care so much about this case. I really do. But I realize that I can't report on it while balancing this other pursuit and my life. So thank you.
Well, I guess you could say he kind of apologized because that apology was weird. I feel like if he was actually sorry, he would admit everything is fake, or at least extremely exaggerated for views, because there is definitely a lot missing here, which is why I would love to sit down and talk to Ken on Discord at some point. So if you see this, Ken, we should do an interview, because I'm just covering what I can see here, and I'd love to hear Ken's side of the story. But speaking of liars, I think this is the worst liar to ever go on TV, which makes the weirdest and funniest story ever. So I would definitely recommend checking that out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.